Parents, do you find yourself running from one appointment to the next? Physical therapy on Mondays, Wednesdays, occupational therapy on Tuesdays, speech therapy squeezed in on Fridays, plus weekly sensory integration sessions, and maybe even ABA or other behavioral interventions, all while trying to manage a strict restrictive diet and administer what feels like 50 to 100 different supplements, vitamins, detox agents, and homeopathics every single day. And that's just for one child. That doesn't even include sports, practices, games, school events, other life things that need to be accomplished. I want you to know you are not alone. More importantly, I want you to know you're not missing anything. You're not failing your child. You're a super parent that wants the best for your child. The truth is, you may actually be doing too much. I know, it might sound crazy, but hear me out. In the quest to help your child heal, develop, and regulate, it's easy to fall into the trap of constantly adding more therapies, more protocols, more supplements, without realizing that the nervous system may already be at beyond capacity. When the brain and body are stuck in a constant state of stress, sympathetic overload, vagus nerve dysfunction, subluxation, dysautonomia, even well-intentioned interventions can become overstimulating and in some cases even counterproductive. That's why so many families we work with report that despite doing everything right, their child is still stuck, plateaued, or even regressing. Scary, isn't it? It's not because you haven't found the perfect protocol or the right combination of therapies. It's because healing doesn't come from piling on more. It comes from starting at the foundation. And oftentimes, the most powerful next step isn't another supplement or session, but rather taking a step back, removing some modalities or appointments, calming the chaos and the nervous system, and working to first regulate and restore the nervous system. If you are an exhausted parent whose children are enrolled in multiple therapies but are experiencing plateaus, regression, or continued struggles despite significant investments of time and money and energy, various interventions, I think this video will completely resonate with you. Now hear me out. In no way am I saying these other treatments are bad. They are extremely beneficial in the right moment and sequence. We're revealing why multiple beneficial therapies can actually cancel each other out when applied to an already overwhelmed nervous system, and how understanding proper sequencing, starting with the nervous system restoration and regulation first, can transform your child's therapy journey from exhausting to extraordinary. This story was the exact case of one of our young patients. His name is Orlando. He had been going to speech therapy consistently for over a year, but mom and dad noticed that he had hit a major roadblock. The therapy did not seem to be working as it originally had, so OT and PT were eventually also added. I get it, but this all created a slight bump in the right direction, only to quickly seemingly fail. Mom and dad were frustrated, and at only 4 years old, Orlando was getting pretty frustrated as well. Mom had been told by a friend to seek out chiropractic care for Orlando, but specifically neurologically based chiropractic care. Following Orlando's first consultation and scan, which tells us a lot, it was evident that his little nervous system was completely stuck in what we call chronic fight or flight. This inhibited his brain and body connection and getting the most out of all of the therapies that they were trying to accomplish. Not too long after pausing some of the therapies and focusing on high-frequency, neurospecific chiropractic care, Orlando began to imitate spontaneously, use an expanded vocabulary, string words together, and try out new sentences. It was like a new child. His mom actually said, "It's everything we had been hoping for, and it happened in the matter of weeks." Orlando and his parents looked deeper at the foundation. They reduced the intervention overload, let his body rewire, and then slowly started to add in those other therapies again. We have seen so many amazing miracle stories, just like Orlando's in our office. But first, you need to understand what healing interventions overload really is. Healing interventions overload occurs when multiple beneficial therapies overwhelm a child's already dysregulated nervous system, causing individual interventions to work against each other rather than building synergistically toward improvement. Think of your child's nervous system like a computer with limited processing power. When too many tabs are open and too many programs are running simultaneously, the entire system slows down and eventually it can completely crash. You can also think of your child's nervous system like a circuit board. If it's already miswired or overloaded, plugging in too many things at once, even good therapies, can trip the system and completely blow a fuse. This explains why kids with subluxation and nervous system dysregulation often struggle with sleep, meltdowns, sensory overload, and even the big bad uglies like seizures, motor tics when their system gets overwhelmed from too many therapies happening all at once. When your child's nervous system is stuck in sympathetic dominance, eventually living in constant fight or flight, it operates like a smartphone with a dying battery. Every function becomes about survival and energy conservation, not growth and healing and learning and regulation. Stressed nervous systems drain energy in a hierarchy, starting with the gut and GI system, which often struggles with motility, absorption, assimilation, and elimination. As a result, causing a child to chronically not feel good and therefore struggle in therapies. Second, the motor system suffers through delayed milestones, poor coordination, hypertonicity, and spasms, weak core strength resulting in crawling delays, W-sitting, toe walking, incoordination, and gait issues that stall out and are hard to address with only PT or OT alone. Speech issues, like Orlando was struggling with, are also at their root a neuromotor dysfunction. Third, immune function deteriorates, leading to chronic inflammation, frequent ear infections, antibiotics, more infections, asthma, autoimmune conditions, the list goes on, and it's this cascade effect. If your child is sick all the time, they either can't even make it to the therapies or can't get much out of them. This is why millions of kids today still struggle with chronic gut issues despite having pristine diets and thousands of dollars worth of supplements. The problem is not with their nutrition, it's with the neurology. Let's look at a sequence that works. The answer is not to abandon beneficial therapies. It's to understand the proper sequence, like we talked about here, for introducing them, creating what we call the multiplier effect, where each intervention becomes exponentially more effective. So phase one focuses exclusively on high-frequency, neurologically focused chiropractic care to address subluxation patterns and restore proper nervous system function, implementing a less is more approach by potentially causing most other major interventions. Consider this building a foundation. Phase two is strategically reintroducing support for what we call the core four. These functions are sleep, gut, GI function, immune balance, and motor development. These foundational systems must be online before higher level functions like speech or academic learning can even begin to develop properly. The best place to start within phase two is the motor system, right there. Your child will be able to benefit so much more from PT and OT and speech therapy once their nervous system is better regulated, connected, and coordinated and goes up that hierarchy. In most cases, when a full care plan of neurologically focused chiropractic care is done right and done fully, primitive reflexes will fade and integrate on their own. It's amazing. And finally, after the neuromotor system is working better, you can begin to better support the gut immune system and work the detox system and elimination more smoothly, safely, and effectively. Phase 3 is when the real magic happens. With a regulated nervous system and stable foundational functions, previously ineffective therapies can produce dramatic results. And children with regulated autonomic function experience exponentially better therapy. Their gains, and they start to really catch up and get back on track developmentally. So how do you find out if your child is dysregulated or is overloaded? Start first by just doing an honest gut check. Think of their progress. And what is your parent gut telling you may be going on? Are they moving things forward, leaving your child stuck or making them things worse? Second, we use advanced insight scan technology to precisely measure nervous system dysregulation, subluxation, and vagus nerve dysfunction to see if your child's nervous system is completely overloaded or not, overwhelmed or not, and exhausted or not, meaning they would struggle to gain benefit from other integrated therapies. This gives parents confidence to trust the process and resist the urge to add more interventions prematurely, because clinically, we know that scans will often improve before signs, which means true foundational neurological healing is happening first, even before symptoms start to get better. If everything we talked about in this video sounds all too familiar and you'd like to learn more about healing interventions overload, the insight scans, and how to learn more about the sequencing of optimal healing, click the link in our bio or comment below or send us a DM. If you are ready to dive in and get some answers on the roadblocks you are seeing with your child, click the link below to schedule a free discovery call or your child's initial insight scan. If you feel like you're hitting the roadblocks, it is time to break down the barriers by looking at the sequencing and the hierarchy of healing so that your child's body, maybe even your body, gets the most out of all the other amazing therapies that you've already been doing.